Crystal, and today I'm going to show you how to make this macrame hanging wicker basket. So to start, I have this wicker basket that I've just had in my house, and it's about 16 inches long by 12 inches wide. And then I have, this is a 4mm macrame rope, 3-ply rope. And the supply list is down in the description for all the links and everything that you'll need. It's just right below this video. But to figure out how long of a piece of cord I needed, I just took my piece of cord and I figured out how long I want my fringe to be, so I had that down there. Then I ran it up the side of my basket, and then I brought it up to see where I wanted my hanging loop to be approximately. And then from there I just folded it in half, and I knew that that was the finished length I wanted, so all I had to do was take the length of the knotted sections and do some calculations to figure out my cord lengths. And I will put a link down below to the blog post that goes along with this video that will explain more detail on figuring out the lengths if your basket is a different size than mine. So to start this, I have my 16 cords cut here that are the length that you need. Mine's 201 inches long. And I'm going to make a braided hanging loop. So what I did was I found the center point of my cord, and then I lined it up at the 4-inch mark on a tape measure, and then brought my right hands out to the 8-inch mark and my left hands out to the top. And that gives me my 8-inch section that I need to do my 4-strand braid. Then you're just gonna turn it clockwise, and you have your left hand there at the part where you need to start your braid. And then what we're gonna do is either tie a knot there or tape it down, and I'm just gonna tie an overhand knot right here to hold my cords in place while I tie my 8-inch braided section. See, I have my fingers right where I want to have this knot be, so that's where my braid starts. And this will make it so that the braided section is right in the center of all the cords for the hanging loop. So I'm just putting my overhand knot there and kind of tightening it as best I can. It's kind of tricky with all these different cords. And then I'm securing it down to my desk. And I'm going to make the braided section for the hanging loop. So I'm doing a 4-strand braid. Divide your cords into 4 equal sections, and then we're going to do right over left, and left over right. So take the far right cord and bring it over the next cord to the left. Then you take this 3rd one over and bring it over the 4th one to the left. And then you bring those 2 center cords left over right. And then you repeat, so it goes right over left, and then the center cords you do left over right. Just like that. And it is a pretty chunky hanging loop, but it's nice and sturdy, so that's good. Continue making that 4-strand braid until you have an 8-inch long section. Alright, so I finished that braided section. For some reason I stopped at 7 inches instead of 8 inches, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and mark that spot where I'm ending with just a piece of rope like that to keep the braid from coming undone. And then we're going to flip it over and untie this huge overhand knot, which kind of took a second because I had pulled it pretty tight. Anyways, so after I untied that, I went ahead and tied one little piece of cord around that end as well. So I just didn't want the braid to come undone. And then I folded it in half, and now since I'm ready to tie my wrapping knot, I'm going to go ahead and untie these temporary pieces of cord real fast. And then we're going to tie a wrapping knot around the base of the braid with a 36-inch long piece of cord. You just take it and you make a U shape in front of the cord you want to wrap, like this. And then take the long end of the cord and you're going to wrap it around everything and pull it good and tight. And then you're just going to wrap anywhere from like 5 to 7 or 8 times. I went with 7 wraps for this one. And then you're going to just insert that end of the cord through the little loop that's left there at the bottom and pull the cord at the top and bring it halfway under all the wrapped section. Then go ahead and trim off the excess cord and poke the little short ends up underneath with your scissors carefully. Don't poke yourself. And then once you get the little ends poked down, I like to pull all the cords one at a time to get any slack out. Just don't pull too hard or it can get all bunched up, but that makes it look a little neater. And then I went ahead and separated it back out into 4 strands or 4 sections. And I'm attaching this to my desk because I'm working sitting down for this part, or you could do it on a hanging rack, either way. But you're going to take your section, you're going to have your 8 cords, you're going to take the 2 center cords and cross left over right, and then you're going to tie a half hitch, not a double half hitch, just a half hitch to start. Because we're going to be making a diamond motif here with double half hitches, and I found this way from One Day Macrame, a book that showed how to start these diamonds with just one little half hitch in the top corner. So that's what we're doing here because I like how it looks. And then you take the left cord, you're going to use it as the filler cord to tie 3 double half hitch knots going down and to the left. And if you don't know how to tie the double half hitch knot yet, that's okay. I have a tutorial to show you how to do that, and I'll link to that up in the corner of this video. Should be a little card that'll pop up. And then just continue, tie 2 more double half hitch knots going down and to the left. Then come back to the other side and you're going to grab that other filler cord from our first half hitch that we tied and use that as the filler cord to tie 3 double half hitch knots going down and to the right. Okay, now we're going to do a little miniature diamond in the center. So take your 2 middle cords and you're going to cross the left one over the right one and then tie 2 double half hitch knots going down into the right. And you're going to want these to be right up next to the previous row of knots, so try not to leave any space. Then go back over on the left side of the middle and you're going to tie 1 double half hitch knot going down into the left. Then you're going to use that same filler cord to tie a 1 double half hitch knot going down into the right. And then you're going to grab that right filler cord again from the little middle diamond and tie 1 double half hitch knot going down into the left. And then you're going to take those 2 center cords and you're going to cross the left one over the right one and tie 1 last double half hitch knot to attach these 2 sides of the little miniature center diamond. Okay, there's the middle of our diamond complete. Now we're going to finish the outside. So take your far left cord and use that as your filler cord. to tie 3 double half hitch knots going down and to the right. And this first one you have a little bit of space, and that's okay. And then the rest of them, just try to make them where there's not really any space between the middle diamond and the outer diamond. Alright, go back over to the right side and grab that filler cord and use that to tie 3 double half hitch knots going down into the left. And it's the same thing as we did over on the other side. A little bit of space is okay on this first knot, and try to make the other ones really close to the inner diamond. And then I like to cross left over right and tie that last double half hitch knot to bring the two sides together. Alright, so there's our diamond. We're going to make several of these going down the straps, but in between I wanted to do a little diamond of square knots. You'll take the center 4 cords and then tie 1 square knot right up under the point of the diamond. And then for the next row, you're going to tie 2 square knots, one on the left and one on the right, just right under that first square knot. And then for the next row, you'll do one more right in the middle. And then you're going to go ahead and do another double half hitch knot diamond. So take your center cords across left over right, and then you're going to do it just like you did the first one. So you do that first half of a double half hitch, or just regular half hitch, then do your 3 double half hitch knots going down and to the right. Oops, I got a knot in my cord. And then go ahead and do your 3 going down into the left. And then do your 2 going down into the right in the center. One going down into the left in the center. One going down into the right with those same 2 cords. And then one more going down to the left. And then bring the left over right and tie one more to bring that center diamond together. And then finish the outer diamond by doing 3 going down into the left on this side. And on the left side, you're going to do 3 knots going down and to the right. And also, if you prefer a written pattern for this, if this is too fast for you, I have a link down in the description to the blog post that has this all written out with step-by-step photos from this video and everything like that. Alright, so there we go. So now you're going to continue that and repeat until you have 5 diamond motifs. like this, and then I just did the square knot diamonds in between each one, and you're going to repeat that for all 4 strands. So it'll look like this, or all 4 arms of the basket. So now I'm going to show you how I'm attaching the basket. Here is my basket bottom, the little bottom corner, and I have a crochet hook. And what I'm doing, since my basket is like a rectangle and it has corners, I'm bringing those 2 center cords, just are going on the outside of the corner, and then the next 2 cords on each side are going to go inside the basket and run down through, and then those outer 2 cords will just also be on the outside. So I was thinking it would be pretty secure that way, and it did seem to work out. And I'm going to use my crochet hook here, just whatever size works for you. I just grabbed the closest one I could find, and I'm going to stick it up through the bottom of my basket and grab those 2 cords that are on the right side. And I'm sorry, this is kind of shaky footage. It's hard. It was kind of tricky to do this in front of the camera without bumping it too much. And okay, so I'm fishing around in there and looking for the cords, and once you find them, just pull them through. There we go. And then we're going to do the same thing with those 2 cords on the left, and I recommend going over a little bit so there is so they're not in the same hole. That way it's a little bit more sturdy. Of course, I only got one. I had to go back in and get the other one. But bring your cords through. And then once we get all the 4 cords through the bottom, we're going to bring everything together and tie square knots to secure it. So here's what it looks like at this point. And I'm going to tie a square knot with the cords going around those 2 cords that are coming, or the 4 cords that are coming out through the bottom. And I'm going to take it off of my rack to show you this because it's kind of hard to do while hanging up. But I'm taking these 2 cords on the left and the 2 cords on the right and using those as the working cords, and then using the cords that are coming out of the bottom of the basket as the filler cords. And I'm tying a square knot, just 1 square knot. And it was a little tricky to get it to focus properly, and it was just tricky. So I'm sorry that it's not focusing very well here, but it gets better. Just pull your cords through and try to keep everything nice and tight, so it, so your basket won't have a lot of slack on the corners. And hopefully this will be easier for you because you won't be trying to film it while you're doing it. And then I had a helper show up while I was trying to tie this knot. It was kind of chaotic. But once you get it tied, it'll look like that. There we go. And then you're going to repeat that for each corner. So here we have our square knot, and then I tried to make it not too loose here. I had to actually go back in and tighten it a little bit to get rid of a little bit of slack, which you may have to do as well. But once you get all of the corners attached, this is how it'll look. And I do have one of my cords twisted back there, but I fixed it later. Here's what it looks like from the bottom. And I decided I wanted to take these cords that was the working cords from the square knots. They were longer than these filler cords. See, they were a little bit shorter. So I thought, well, I could take these longer cords and either just cut them off, or I could use them to make the basket a little bit more secure. So what I decided to do was take all of those outer cords that we used as the working cords for the square knots that we tied at the bottom, and I just gathered them all together in the center, right up underneath the basket, right in the middle. And then I decided I would tie a wrapping knot here on the bottom, and not only would it deal with some of the excess cord, but it'd make it a little more secure. So I grabbed another 36-inch long cord, and I'm going to use that to tie a wrapping knot right here at the bottom, just like we did earlier. I went ahead and wrapped it about 7 or 8 times just to really make sure it was a good secure knot. And then bring the end down through the loop and pull the cord at the top, just like we did before. And then once you get this wrapping knot done, we'll need to pull on all the cords that are being wrapped to get rid of any slack. So I went ahead and cut the excess cord from the wrapping knot. And then I didn't tuck my ends in yet because I was going to be doing this, pulling on all the cords first, and I figured I would do it after that. So I hung my basket back up and then just pulled on each cord individually to get rid of any slack. And then this is how it looked once it was done. And then I just went ahead and cut the fringe, and I just eyeballed it with where I thought it looked good. This is really up to you. And then I went ahead and untwisted the fringe to get that pretty wavy fringy look. I did not brush it out. You can brush yours out if you want to. I just like to keep my fringe low maintenance if possible. But I just went around and untwisted it all. And then I'll show you how it turned out. Here it is with some plants in it. And I just love how this turned out, and it's great because it holds 2 plants at a time, and it's also pretty sturdy. I'm thinking about hanging this in my kitchen to hold like onions and stuff. We'll see. If I do, I will share a picture with you. But I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thanks for watching!